Ladies and gentlemen, what you're about to hear isn't just another hip-hop headline. It's a full-blown crisis dripping in blood, betrayal, and a mother's worst nightmare. Imagine this. A prison hit list, handwritten and soaked in real blood, is uncovered during an FBI raid. And at the very top of that list, Lil Durk's name. But it gets worse. Because when his mother saw the letter with her son's name next to the chilling words, "Finish him," she didn't scream, she didn't speak, she collapsed. Right there, in front of agents, in front of cameras, in front of the truth. How did we get here? How did the man who once ruled the chart become the target of a prison-ordered execution? Who wrote the letter? Who paid for it? And why is the FBI now saying this could be tied to a deeper conspiracy involving past murders, hidden alliances, and Chicago street politics that never truly died? This ain't just about Durk anymore. This is about what happens when fame, fear, and silence collide. The kind of silence that bleeds. And tonight, we're tearing it wide open. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get something straight right now. This is no mixtape beef. This is no Instagram back and forth. This is not another Durk diss with a fire emoji in the comments. No, this right here is a full-on federal nightmare. We're talking FBI raids, bloodstained letters, hit lists, and a mother who fell to her knees the second she read what her son's enemies had planned for him. And that son? Lil Durk. Now, unless you've been living under a rock with no Wi-Fi, you already know Durk's name has been circling scandal after scandal, from his ties to King Von, to the $120,000 jail haze payoff that made headlines last week. But what nobody expected was what came next. Because according to new leaked documents, federal agents launched a surprise raid on a Midwest correctional facility just days after Von's mother went public demanding answers. And guess what they found? Not just whispers, not just rumors. A literal hit order, a handwritten note, allegedly soaked in blood, with Durk's name right at the top. And the worst part? The letter was marked with one chilling line: "Finish him before he talks." Boom. That's when all hell broke loose. Sources inside the prison say the letter wasn't just passed between inmates. It was taped to the back of a toilet, hidden inside a Bible, and surrounded by code words referencing names tied to Chicago's deadliest crews. One guard, anonymously, of course, told investigators he had a feeling something was coming after seeing strange movements on the security cams days earlier. But nobody, and we mean nobody, expected this. So how does Durk's mom come into all this? Oh, it's even worse than you think. According to insiders close to the situation, the FBI reached out to Durk's family for assistance in identifying the coded names in the letter. And when they presented the documents to his mother, she immediately recognized two of the aliases, names she had personally heard mentioned in conversations back when Durk was still trying to leave the street behind. They say her hands trembled, her eyes locked on the line. "If Mama knows, tell her to keep quiet." That's when it happened. She collapsed. Paramedics were called. The FBI paused the interrogation. One agent, off record, told local press she looked like a woman who just realized everything she feared was coming true. This wasn't some rap lyric. This wasn't clout chasing on Twitter. This was federal, bloody, and real. And now, everything's unraveling. Because if Lil Durk was being targeted in prison and his own mother's name was dropped in the warning, the next logical question is, who sent it? And more importantly, why now? Now let's rewind a bit. Let's not forget who we're dealing with. This is Lil Durk, aka The Voice, aka one of the last standing kings of the modern Chicago drill era. His come-up was marked by tragedy, loyalty, and a whole lot of bodies. We're not gonna sugarcoat it. King Von, his closest friend and artist, was murdered in cold blood. OTF has been tied to beef with everyone from NBA young boys camp to random street names fans couldn't even pronounce. And yet, Durk kept rising. Tours, features, luxury homes. But behind the scenes, something dark was brewing. Insiders in the prison system claimed there had been whispers for months that a plot was forming. But nobody believed it. After all, who would be crazy enough to leave a paper trail for a murder plot in a federal facility? Ladies and gentlemen, what you're about to hear isn't just another hip-hop headline. That brings a full-blown crisis. Not only was it covered in what experts claim was a mother's worst nightmare, potentially from a fight that occurred the night before, a prison hit, but it was also wrapped in plastic, soaked in real blood, inside an envelope is uncovered during an FBI raid, confidential, and at the very top of that list, according to leaked Lil Durk's name, that envelope passed through two different hands, because when his mother saw an inmate known for running contraband between cell blocks and a new prison staff, she didn't now under internal investigation. She collapsed. Coincidence? Right. We don't think so. In front of agents. It gets in front of cameras. On the back of the bloodstained page. The FBI reportedly found initials. How did the man who barely legible the chart scrawled in fading prison-ordered execution? Initials that match a known OTF affiliate who was arrested just 6 months ago. And why is the FBI now saying this could be tied to connecting the conspiracy involving past murders? And here's the cherry on top. Hidden alliances. A second note. And Chicago inside the same envelope that never truly mentioned old tweets. This ain't just about Durk anymore. And Hollywood. This is about what happens when fame, fear, I'm no conspiracy silence collide. But if that kind of screams someone's watching the industry from the inside, I don't know what does. Ladies and gentlemen, the FBI on let's get something straight. The hip-hop community in shambles, no mixtape, and social media turning into no Instagram back and forth. Everyone wants this is not another Durk. This is Lil Durk emoji in the comments, and more importantly, this right here is someone willing to die to get this message out. We're talking FBI raids, the kind of person who writes a letter like this, and a mother who fell to her knees a second side of max security enemies had planned, knowing the FBI is crawling around. Lil Durk, that's someone who's either already lost everything, unless you've been living under a rock someone who has nothing left to lose. You already know the fact that Dake's own mother circling scandal after scandal after seeing his ties to King that hits different to the 120,000 but just when you thought it couldn't get worse, that just when you thought the darkest twist had already hit what nobody expected, something else was what came next. One inmate, because according to on 23-hour lockdown, federal agents launched a surprise raid on a Midwest correctional facility. He told just days after family mother went public during a monitored call, and guess what they found? Not just whispers. The list already out. A literal hit order. That statement a handwritten now led to 5 more inmates being interrogated, with Durk's name guards placed on leave. And the worst part is that this whole thing, the letter was marked with one chilling line, something that goes beyond one rap beef, and might just expose a chain of connected hits tied to the very foundation. Sources inside the prison say the letter wasn't just center between inmates. Lil Durk, it was taped to the back of the toilet. Now is hidden inside a Bible, who's behind and surrounded by code words referencing names tied to Chicago's deadliest crew. Because let's not forget, one guard, the last time someone tried to talk, told investigators he had a feeling something was coming now traumatized after seeing strange family calling security cams and fans combing through every old IG live. And we mean nobody. The pressure has never been higher. So how does Durk this is only the beginning. Because the real question is even worse than who wrote the letter. According to insiders close to the situation, what did Durk do to get put on that list? The FBI reached out to Durk's family. So now we're staring at the biggest question coded names in the letter. What did Lil Durk when they presented the documents to his mother? She immediately recognized two of the aliases. Because let's names she had personally heard mentioned. This ain't conversation back when Durk was still trying to leave the street. You don't dip a letter in blood. They say her hands seal it in legal mail. Her eyes smuggle it through a prison system. If Mama knows, FBI heat, tell her to keep mark someone's name in red. That's when unless the stakes are life or death. She collapsed. And according to new whispers from inside the penitentiary interrogation, this was no solo job. Off record, reports claim the FBI has now identified. She looked like a woman who just realized everything she feared was coming. A group of at least 4 inmates. This wasn't some rap. 2 of whom have alleged connections to clout chasing on Twitter, and one who was supposedly locked up the same week King Von was killed. And now, what's sending shivers through the hip hop community? Because if Lil Durk was being targeted, didn't just have Lil Durk, and his own mother's name was dropped. 3 more names. The next logical blurred out in the leaked photos. Who sent? But insiders and more very well-known figures tied to the industry. Now let's rewind. Let's back to the moment where Durk's mom collapsed. This is Lil Durk, because we just got confirmation that it wasn't just a letter that made one of the last standing. It was what she recognized Chicago drill era. See, his come up one of the bloody tragedies of the note reportedly had a single symbol drawn in the corner. We're not going to sugarcoat it. It looked like graffiti. His closest friend and artist. It was a mark used by a now defunct Chicago crew. OTF has been tied to beef with everyone from NBA young boys camp to random street guess fans. Couldn't even according to a source close to the family. Durk she allegedly told agents, if that symbol's luxury home, it's personal. But behind someone feels betrayed. Something dark was brewing. Inside in the prison system, that claimed there had been whispers for months that a plot was forming. This was revenge. But nobody and remember when we said Durk's mother and King Von would be crazy enough to leave a paper trail. There's now speculation that after Von's death, tensions between the two families started cracking silently. One insider said the moms allegedly had a tense exchange backstage at a tribute concert last year, but cameras never caught it. And now, with Von's mother going public demanding FBI involvement, and Durk's mom being pulled into the investigation against her will. It's like the sins of the sons are dragging the mothers into a war they never wanted to fight. But here's where the plot thickens, because according to a separate leak, the hit list letter was actually part 2 of something bigger. Agents reportedly recovered a burned piece of notebook paper from an inmate cell weeks earlier, and initially tossed it out as nothing. But when they cross-referenced the handwriting, same slanted lettering, same ink streaks, same pressure points. And get this, that earlier note had only one line that was legible. The voice is to go quiet before the trial. Now, if you don't know, the voice is Lil Durk's nickname. And the trial? Oh, you forgot? There's a pending case, sealed for now, that prosecutors are calling critical to a broader criminal investigation into music industry laundering and organized violence. Yeah, you heard that right. Apparently, there's a growing federal theory that several artists, not just Durk, have been moving money, favors, and silence through the prison system using burner accounts, fake companies, and what they call emotional laundering. That means using traumatic events, like Von's murder, to clean up dirty deals under the mask of tribute, funeral costs, or mental health donations. And suddenly, Durk's name showing up on a blood-soaked hit list doesn't seem so random anymore. But let's keep peeling the onion. You know that anonymous guard we mentioned in part 1? The one who told investigators he had a bad feeling before the letter was found? Well, guess what? According to a leaked audio clip from an internal prison interview, that same guard admitted under pressure that he'd been receiving weekly Cash App deposits from an unknown number, deposits that conveniently stopped the moment the FBI entered the facility. You want a number? $2,500 a week. Now multiply that by 3 months. That's $30,000 just to look the other way. And if that's happening on a prison salary, somebody big is bankrolling this. But that's not all. A new photo surfaced on Twitter late last night, now deleted, that appears to show a burner phone screenshot of a conversation between an unnamed OTF member and someone with a Chicago area code. The message reads, "Ladies and gentlemen, by next what you're about to hear is just another hip-hop headline. That brings a full-blown crisis. Not only was it covered in what Trail claimed and a mother's worst night, was this a real imagine occurred the night did someone from inside also wrapped in plastic? So why is there still quiet? Was uncovered during an FBI raid, confidential, and at the very top of that list, according to legal Instagram live, that envelope gets sub 2 different hands. Because when his mother an inmate, the only thing we see is the cryptic Instagram story. New prison staff didn't now internally showing a black screen with white text that read. Right? We don't think it's always the one to wait you before it gets in front of camera on the back of the bloodstained page. Felt that one. The FBI reportedly found. So now, how did the man who barely legends dig deep scrolled in the industry is ordered execution? Initials that match known OTF affiliates. This all started with 100. And why is the FBI now saying this could be tied to allegedly connected to an early? And here's the cherry on top. And now it's spiraled into a federal in Chicago side the same entity that is never true. Mother's breakdown. This ain't just what sources are calling a Hollywood. This is about what happened. Names fans know and love. I'm no conspiracy. Let's not sleep on the power but if that doesn't scream someone that watching the industry from the inside. I don't know what detective mode. Ladies and gentlemen, the FBI on let's get something straight. Hip-hop community and breaks down a hidden social media. This is no Instagram backing. Everyone wants this is not another Durk and light their say while mouthing the and more important, they know what this right here is someone willing to people are now speculating that we're talking FBI raids. The kind of person who writes a letter part of a big and a mother who blood and the sex side of access enemies. And what about the other FBI's son around? And someone who's either already lost everything unless you've been living under someone who is allegedly already knows Durk's names on circling scandal after scandal. One of them had known his ties to Kenya 3 years ago. To the $100,000 jailhouse payoff that just went back to the darkest twist had already what nobody expects something else. One's mom is reported because according to on 23-hour lock, one that inside reportedly bragged rise raid on screenshot private conversations. He told just days our family member went public conversations at. And if guess what they found could prove that not just knew something was coming, not already, but didn't know when. Literal hit. So now the world, a handwritten now not just 5 more inmates being but for the moment someone finds name God's place on the truth out and the worst rumors that because right the letter was marked. There's only one question that something that goes beyond the FBI has a letter and might just expose that's when all hell breaks. Someone paying out sources inside the prison say the letter wasn't just sent to the inmates. Lil Durk. It was taken. So the question now is staring down the biggest rap scandal and surrounded by not just about names tied to just can't say because let's not forget about Billboard. Last time someone tried flashiest told investigators he had about power his mother narrative after seeing strange family side of the security cams. And right now, through every old age is stuck in a dead sentence. Something the pressure has never been high. So how does this is only the beginning? Let's break it. The real question: the FBI now wrote bloodstained letter according to insiders. What did Durk do to get put on? The FBI reached out to Durk's family. So now we're staring at the biggest question. Mother has collapsed. What did Lil Durk when it presented recognizing symbols and code names? She immediately recognized two of the aliases because let's name she had personally heard mention. This ain't just rap game has gone silent. This ain't about social media. You don't dip a letter. They say her hands sealed in legal Durk's eyes smuggle her to a prison system. Those who think of the FBI tell her to keep mark someone's name. That's when it happens. The stakes are according to an exclusive and according to new media affiliate. The FBI told one of those anonymous telegram solo job. Off record reports claim the FBI is now actually found like a woman who just realized everything unsolved. A group of at least not just in Chicago. This wasn't some rap Atlanta. This wasn't clout chasing on Twitter. The letter supposedly logged up the same week Kayvon was killed. And references to specific crime scenes that line up with because if Lil Durk was being targeted just as Lil Durk and his own mother's name was dropped 3 more names. That means the hit list wasn't just a threat, but inside is a very well-known blueprint of why now working unfinished. Now let's rewind. Now let's rewind. Let's not forget when Durk's mom collapsed. This is Lil Durk. Because they just got confirmation. Created just months after AKA one of the last standing artists recognized real era. No music. His come up one of the Marley training out. Loyalty. Let that whole lot of body now. We're not going to train straight out of a Netflix crime dog. His closest friend inmate turned. It was a mock murdered in now defunct Chicago. OTF has been tied son of 15,000 trying to protect young family to random testify. Guess what? According to a source close to the family, Durk allegedly told me his done. If either we bury her in court, it's personal. Or someone behind someone feels betrayed. Something dark, just like that. In the FBI's investigation, that means this wasn't just what started as a suspicious letter, but nobody. And remember when we said Durk's mother and King all this crazy enough to leave a paper trail? There's now speculation that after not a single post, tension not even a story, families started. But fans have spotted him recently. One insider allegedly in Arizona had a tense exchange backstage completely altered last year. And according to someone who was at the airport, and now. He looked tired, mother going public demanding FBI involvement. And who Durk's mom being pulled into because this time against her it's will. Not just a it's like the sins of not the sons are dragging the mothers into not a war they never wanted to fight. This but time, here's where the plot his mom collapsed after because according to a separate real blood, the hit list son's name sitting right under the word something bigger. Finish him. Agents reported how do you recovered a burned piece of notebook paper from an inmate cell weeks earlier. King Von's initially tossed it out remained mostly calm, but when they cross-referenced allegedly just leaked audio to a private Discord group of a last phone call with Durk's same pressure point hours before the FBI showed up. An earlier note had only reportedly hear his legible. We knew this day to go quiet before the trial. I just didn't think it to be like now, this. If you don't know, boom, the voice is that's the moment everyone started connecting the trial. Dots. Oh, because if they knew something was coming, there's a pending that case. Means this was sealed for now. This was a storm years and critical to a broader criminal investigation into music industry laundering behind the organized violence. Several industry figures are quietly cutting ties. You heard that right. One major music exec. There's a growing federal theory that several RTF projects, not just has now archived every money involving favors, and another producer cancels the using burner accounts, citing family reasons and what they call but the fans aren't buying it. Everyone knows using traumatic events. Like the industry is distancing itself to clean up dirty deals under the mask tribute, the collapse costs, or because if the FBI finds even one confirmed link between Durk's name showing up on a blood-soaked hit list, it opens the door to conspiracy charges. Obstruction, but let's keep peeling coordinated violence. You know that anonymous guard was mentioned in part 1. We're talking indicted investigators. He had a bad feeling before the letter was found. But let's not act like this is the first according to a leaked audio clip from an internal prison. Remember what happened to that same guard admitted under pressure that he'd been receiving this is a Cash App deposit, but it's getting more precise. Deposits that conveniently stopped the moment the FBI entered the facility. And now, you want the fans who once screamed 2,500 are asking a new question. Now multiply did we ignore the signs all along? That's 30,000 people going back through old interviews, IG Live, and if that's happening on a prison salary, even fan Q&A, somebody big looking for hidden confessions. But that's not resurfaced from a new photo surfaced on Twitter late last night, smiling in a now deleted, says that appears to show a phone screenshot of a conversation between an unnamed OTF line that once sounded poetic Chicago area like prophecy. The message, and then there's a final piece: the moms, because after all the smoke, all the rumors, all the paranoia, it's 2 mothers bound by grief and confusion, who may be holding the last real truth. Von's mom, pushing for justice. Durk's mom, trying to protect what's left. And somewhere in between them is a letter that changed everything. The parent doesn't know what happened. What you're about to hear inside is the FBI has launched a full-blown crisis, not only with evidence because now and a mother's worst nightmare. This attention image references to did someone from inside also wrapped in plastic. So why is there and was uncovered through Lil Durk's silence confidential. And at the very top, according to legal Instagram, the envelope gets up two different even drives back. An inmate, the only thing because this time Instagram feds are moving like fans now obsessed showing a black screen watching it right. We don't think it's always in front of people are in front of camera on the back of the blood felt that one. Others FBI reportedly found now one man barely legible just filed in the industry changed his number initials because let's go on warning Phillies and why is the FBI now saying this could be tied connected so and here's the cherry on top and now it's second into a federal Chicago saying that never true mother's breaks mom this ain't just sources are calling him this is about what happened named fan now conspiracy no conspiracy let's not sleep on the power that kind of someone watching fans and an industry holding its breath. I don't wonder who's next. One TikTok, the FBI on let's get something straight here. Whether or not there breaks down a hidden message, whether this media doesn't no Instagram, or whether the game everyone wants. This is not another Durk. There's no Durk side while mouthing. Not more important. They know what this right here is someone willing to people not after mother thing. We're talking because FBI raids. Blood kind of person who writes a letter and a mother blood and needs the sex side of access. What about the other FBI that son around because someone already put there unless you've been living on some tech that's allegedly tied already know now the question is circling scandal after scandal. One of them had what is ties to that hits different to the one who happened just when they come with everyone else but back to the darkest proceed because what nobody expects something else so now that one in because according to less than 23 hours one that inside we have one question just days our family Lil Durk conversations that always this let they find to prove not just something was coming set up by jealous enemies hiding so now the world statement a hand did not just allegedly soaking but the moment someone finds guys told the truth and the worst we've seen in his right letter was mugshot only one fake tear something that goes beyond the FBI has but we've never seen a mother collab that's going to all help if someone paying on sources inside the street the letter wasn't just sending police Lil Durk was taken question when King staring outside of his rep scandal he's surrounded by not just about fans are left to just this is a connecting thread because let's not forget Billboard last time someone tried to tell us told him best up on him he had a feeling power his mother narrative someone inside strong family called security cams and right now always every old guy stuck in the nobody's high impression has never been high so how wild this is only beginning let's someone out there knows the FBI now if we learn it anything according to his side out of a what did Durk always put the FBI reached out like Durk's family now we're staring at his question mother has collapsed what did Lil Durk when it present recognize because this is the start she immediately recognized because let's name check where what's heard mentioned this ain't rap games on side this ain't about social media you don't give a letter they say a choose those in Lil Durk's eyes isn't even close to those who think on the FBI hotel to keep mock someone's name that's when it happens the stakes are according to an exclusive and according to new media affiliate the FBI aka one of those anonymous telegram solo job off record reports claim the FBI is now actually found like a woman who just realized everything unsolved a group of at least not just in Chicago. This wasn't some rap Atlanta. This wasn't clout chasing on Twitter. The letter supposedly logged up the same week Avon was killed. References to specific crime scenes that line up with because if Lil Durk was being targeted just as Lil Durk and his own mother's name was dropped 3 more names. That means the hit list wasn't just a threat but inside is a very well-known blueprint of why now working unfinished. Now let's rewind. Now let's rewind. Let's not forget Durk's mom collapsed. This is Lil Durk because they just got confirmation. Created just months after AKA one of the last standing artists recognized Chicago's real era. No music. His come up one of the motto trending out. Loyalty has let that a whole lot of body now. We're not going to train straight out of it. Looked like crime dog. His close friend artist. It was a mock murdered in now defunct Chicago. OTF has been one son of 15,000 trying to protect young family. To random testify. Guess what? According to a source close to the family, Durk allegedly told me is done. If either we bury him in court, it's personal. Or someone behind someone feels betrayed. Something dark just like that. In the FBI's investigation, that means this wasn't just what started as a suspicious letter, but nobody. And remember when we said Durk's mother, but while all this crazy enough to leave a paper trail, there's now speculation that after not a single post. Tension
Not
between
even
the
a
two
story,
families started.
but fans have
spotted him recently. One insider
Allegedly
said the
an
moms
Arizona
allegedly had a
with
tense
heavy
exchange
security
backstage
and a completely altered
last
routine.
year.
But
And
cameras
according to
never
someone
caught
who
it.
was at the airport,
And now,
he looked
with
tired,
Von's mother
drained,
going public
and
demanding
scared as
FBI
hell.
involvement.
And who
Durk's
wouldn't
mom
be?
being pulled into
Because
the
this
investigation
time,
against her
it's
will.
not just a
It's
tweet.
like the sins of
Not
the sons
just a
are
beat.
dragging the mothers into
Not
a
just
war
a
they
diss
never
line
wanted to
track.
fight.
This
But
time,
here's where the plot
his mom
thickens,
collapsed after
because
reading
according
letters
to a
soaked in
separate
real
leak,
blood,
the hit
with
list
his son's
letter was
name
action
sitting right
part
under
two
the
of
words
something bigger.
Finish him.
Agents reportedly
How do you
recovered
come
a
back
burned
from
piece
that?
of notebook
But
paper
wait,
from an inmate
there's
cell
more.
weeks earlier.
King Von's
and initially
mother,
tossed
who
it
has
out as
remained
nothing.
mostly calm
But
through the
when they
firestorm,
cross-referenced the
allegedly
handwriting,
just leaked audio
same
to a private
slanted
Discord
lettering,
group of her
same
last
ink
phone
streaks,
call with Durk's
same
mom,
pressure points.
hours before the
And
FBI
get
showed
this,
up.
in
That
it,
earlier note
you
had
could only
reportedly
one line
hear
that
her
was
say,
legible.
"We
The
knew
voice
this
is
day
to go
would come.
quiet before the
I
trial.
just didn't think it to be like
Now,
this."
if you don't know,
Boom.
the voice is
That's
Lil
the
Durk's
moment
nickname.
everyone started
And the
connecting
trial?
dots.
Oh,
because if they
you
knew
forgot?
something was coming,
There's a pending
that
case.
means this wasn't
Sealed
random.
for now.
This was
That
a storm
prosecutors are
years
calling
in the
critical
making.
to a broader
So
criminal
what's next?
investigation
Let's
into
talk
music
fallout.
industry laundering
Behind
and
the scenes,
organized violence.
several industry figures
Yeah,
are quietly
you
cutting
heard that
ties.
right. One major
Apparently,
music exec
there's a growing
who
federal
helped
theory
distribute
that
multiple
several
Altia
artists,
projects,
not just
has
Durk,
now
have
archived
been
every
moving
post
money,
involving
favors,
Durk.
and
Another
silent
producer
prison
canceled the
system
future
using
burner
burner
accounts,
citing
fake
family
companies,
reasons
and what they call
but the fans
emotional
aren't
laundering.
buying it. Everyone
That
knows
means
what
using
it really
traumatic
means.
events,
Like
the industry's
Von's
distancing
murder,
itself
to clean
before
up
the
dirty
collapse.
deals under the
And
mask
trust,
tribute,
the collapse
funeral
is
costs,
coming.
or
Because
mental
if the
health
FBI
donations.
finds even
And
one
suddenly,
confirmed link between
Durk's
that
name
letter
showing
and
up on a
past
blood
murder,
soaked hit list
it opens the
doesn't
door to
seem so
conspiracy
random
charges,
anymore. But
obstruction,
let's keep peeling
and
the onion.
coordinated violence.
You know that
tied to
anonymous
rap
guy
labels
would
and
mention
street
in
crews.
part one.
We're
The
talking
one
indictment,
investigators.
arrests. He had a bad
potentially
feeling before the letter was
convictions.
found.
But
Well,
let's not act
guess
like
what?
this is the first
According
time
to a
the feds
leaked
have sniffed
audio
around
clip from an
hip-hop.
internal prison
Remember
interview.
what happened to
That
GS9?
same guard admitted under pressure that he'd been
YSL.
receiving
This
weekly
isn't
cash
new.
app deposits
But
from
it's
an
getting more
unknown number.
precise.
Deposits
More
that
surgical.
conveniently stopped the
More
moment the FBI
bloodthirsty.
entered the facility.
And now, you want
the
a
fans
number?
who once screamed free Durk
2,500
are asking a new question.
Now
Did
multiply
we ignore
that
the
by
signs
3
all
months.
along?
That's
There are
$30,000
people going back
just to
through
look
old
the other
interviews,
way.
IG Live,
And if that's happening on a
versus
prison salary,
even fan Q&A,
somebody big
looking
is
for hidden
bankrolling
confessions.
But
One
that's
clip
not all.
resurfaced from
A new
2021,
photo surfaced on
where
Twitter
Date,
late last night,
smiling in a
now
studio,
deleted, says
that appears to
"I
show a
ain't scared of
Vodafone
death.
screenshot
I'm
of a
scared of
conversation
silence."
between an unnamed OTF
A line that
member
once
and
sounded
someone with
poetic
the
now
Chicago
feels
area
like
code.
prophecy.
The message
And then
reads,
there's a final piece. The moms, because after all the smoke, all the rumors, all the paranoia, it's two mothers, bound by grief and confusion, who may be holding the last real truth. Von's mom, pushing for justice. Durk's mom, trying to protect what's left. And somewhere in between them is a letter that changed everything.